Coming up tonight on Fifth Third Business Beat, small banks pick up new customers after the big banks drop them as clients. River Downs could be hosting its final year of racing. Cashing in on coupons just got easier for some customers. Business Courier senior staff reporter Dan Monk reports on the huge decline in revenue for home builders. A local woman's hand-mixed fragrances are selling well here and abroad. CEO of Christian Moerlein, Greg Hardman, talks with Crystal Faulkner about acquisition strategies. Dan Hurley of Leadership Cincinnati tells us about taking over as director of that program. Jamie Gertson, president of Apollo Heating and Air Conditioning, is the guest on the Gehring Center Report. And Neil Borst, CEO of Town Properties, joins Doug Bolton for Publishers Beat.
Fifth Third Business Beat is brought to you in part by Fifth Third Bank, Cincinnati Bell, and Cincinnati United Contractors.
Hello, I'm Brian Patrick. Welcome to Fifth Third Business Beat for Friday, January 23rd, 2009. On page one of the Business Courier this week, small banks are benefiting from some of the problems that bigger banks are facing. Smaller banks say they're picking up plenty of loans from borrowers with good credit who've been kicked out of the big banks. Most of the customers are small businesses. As big banks weed out troubled loans, some solid customers are getting axed. Park National Bank is one institution that expects to gain more customers as big banks reject them.
They're more concerned about specific transactions. When it comes to commercial customers, we're more concerned about a long-term relationship with the customer. So I think the value proposition may be a little better with a community bank.
Smaller banks tend to look at the individual customer rather than the industry as a whole before making their credit decisions. Well, this could be the last racing season at River Downs. The Anderson Township track has operated at a loss for the last 5 seasons. Owners may have to close it if things don't improve. Revenue has fallen since tracks in other states added slot machines. Tracks with expanded gaming offer richer purses, better horses, and higher levels of betting. River Downs owners have been frustrated by the repeated failures of ballot issues in Ohio to legalize casino gambling. Well, you now may be able to do one more thing with your cell phone, that is, get a bargain. Some local companies, including Kroger, have partnered with Cellfire, a California venture that allows customers to get coupons on their mobile phones. Customers can download coupons from their phones to their Kroger Plus card accounts. Some merchants will allow customers to just show the coupon on their cell phone when they check out. La Rosa's and the Cincinnati Zoo also offer electronic coupons. Now to a story by Dan Monk on the brutal year it's been for home builders. Dan, the Courier's annual list of largest home builders is out. What does it show?
A lot of pain and suffering. It's, I mean, it's not a big surprise. Home builders had a rough year, but when you look at the local numbers, it's pretty stunning. Home builders have gone from the top 25 in our list each year. 2,100 total employees in 2006, below 900 now. And then in terms of revenue, we had home builders with, I think it was over close to 1.5 billion in revenue in 2006, and now that number is 644 million. If you look at the top 25 builders, 16 of them posted revenue declines in double digits in 2008. A much worse year than even the builders were expecting.
Now, was it across the board? Did anybody show a gain?
There were 4 companies who posted a gain. One of them is Great Traditions Land and Development Company, and one reason for their gain is they were building facilities for the Maple Knoll Retirement Village. They also had a backlog of orders that they were filling through 2008. They're not expecting another revenue increase in 2009.
What do home builders expect for 2009?
Well, a lot of them were in Las Vegas just this week for a convention, a lightly attended convention, they said, and the mood was a little somber, but economists there were projecting that the housing market would bottom by June and start to recover again by later this year, perhaps the fourth quarter of this year. But they're not expecting a rapid turnaround. They're expecting this to take 2 or 3 years to recover.
So are they just laying down with this, or are they doing something to try to market themselves in this economy?
Well, home builders are a pretty optimistic bunch, so they don't just give up. And a lot of them have cut costs. They've let go employees. They're trying to tighten up their production schedules. They're selling off land that they don't think they're going to be able to use quickly. And beyond cutting costs, a lot of them are trying different strategies. You see home builders who are now building office condos. They're doing retail centers, anything to keep their work crews busy. A lot of them are trying to differentiate themselves. Dries, for example, is going after the first-time home buyer, and they've got a healthy supply of what they call market homes. These are homes that are ready to move into. They're at lower price points. They're offering financing at reasonable rates. And there's a builder that does high-end homes called Mark Bradley Homes. Last year they had some success by offering geothermal heating units in homes as an option, and now this year they've decided to make those standard in all of their homes, hoping to spark some sales and kind of differentiate themselves from the rest of the market.
It's a story I'm sure you'll follow in 2009. Thank you, Dan. Be sure to read Dan's story in this week's Business Courier. Here is the Courier Greater Cincinnati Stock Index. We track the performance of about 40 local stocks, comparing with the broader market using the Dow Jones Wilshire 5000 Index. The market lost ground last week. The local index slipped about 1.8%, while the overall market was down around 1.9%. Not every business in the tri-state is feeling the effects of the recession. One woman's internet-based business is growing every day. Patricia McGeever reports on a woman whose nose knows what sells.
Oh, that's nice. It's really nice.
Fabian Christensen appreciates a fine fragrance, especially one she makes herself. She's the owner of Possets, an internet-based perfume company. Here, she's mixing essential oils and resins with a vegetable carrier oil to make one of her signature scents.
You start off with an idea. I want to do such and such. Then I come down here and I've written down notes as to what I think should go into the blend in order to make it smell the way I want it to smell. When I come down here and I start mixing and I start putting different fragrances together, some to enhance, some to contrast with the main theme.
Fabian says Cincinnati inspires her, and her fragrances have names that honor places in the city, like the Observatory. She makes 2 kinds of perfumes, classic Possets that include man-made and natural components, and 100% natural Possets. Getting the scent just the way she wants it can sometimes involve a lot of trial and error.
And there are plenty of times when I start out and I think that I've just about got it and I blow it at the end. And then I come back and I've got to redo it about 5 or 6 times, and sometimes I finally get what I'm after, and sometimes I just take the whole idea and take it all apart and put it back together again, and it's a totally different animal.
Fabian has files of recipe ideas for fragrances she'd like to blend. She's already developed around 100, each one hand-mixed and given a passing grade from her nose.
It really doesn't come from my nose. It's the interpretation. It's what you pick up and put together up here. Of course, you need a good working nose.
Biggs and Whole Foods sell Possets, and Fabian says she has customers in all 50 states, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. And while you might think a buyer might like to get a whiff of a fragrance before buying it, Fabian says word of mouth has driven customers to her website, and business is booming. Fabian has set some lofty goals for herself in the new year. She wants to get into more retail locations in the United States, and she wants to double her sales.